Hi, hello. I hope all is very well for you at the moment. And so, at the moment in this kind of very unusual time of what I'm hoping is transformation, because certainly there are challenges, certainly, and a lot of confusion and a lot of anxiety and a lot of grief. And hopefully within the recognition of what's actually happening in the pandemic and subsequent issues raised around our global systems and our national systems, that there's opportunity for some transformation. And that's a lot of what Ecobalance Courses is all about, is the transformation of systems change. And in my last video, a reconnection exercise, I talked about in economics the point of interaction. So economics is a huge arena of all sorts of different systems that we use to manage and provide goods and services. And the point of interaction is where human need and labour meets our earthly provision of materials, resources and location. And so it's a very interesting place, this point of interaction. And in Ecobalance Courses, we look at it as you are the expert in your place of that point of interaction. You have the understanding of where that point of interaction, or those collective relationships in terms of economics, meet, to understand maybe where and how things are appropriate for systems change. And that is why in this video I wanted to introduce the idea of using archetypes, because archetypes speak to our inner knowing, or our innate, and as I described in a previous video, our authentic knowing, because archetypes can cut through a lot of the dialogue and discussion to really give us the kernel of a truth. And that is why they're used a lot in stories, and we have deep recognition with archetypes. So I wanted today to just look at the two archetypes of the guardian and the parasite, and see how our understanding can shift when we apply those archetypes as a lens at this point of interaction in economics, this point of the relationships in our economic system for delivering all of the goods and services to support our function as a collective, locally, nationally and internationally. So we can really gain a sense, if we think of economics through the lens of a guardian, for example, and guardianship, we can understand what that might mean in terms of the intention that we go forward when we're having human need met by the resources of the planet and the location, and in that relationship to develop whatever that provision is. We can understand that that motivation and that outcome through the lens and through the behaviour and attitudes of guardian is very different, for example, than through the lens of a parasite, because of the nature of the parasite. So the intention of using the archetype of, or the intention of a parasite rather, in terms of at that point of interaction, is for gain without giving anything back. And we know from nature that parasites often destroy their host. Yeah, they destroy their host. And so when we have economics that go through that lens of a parasite, we can probably gauge some familiarity of what that might look like in terms of the devastation, the destroying and the destructive approach, attitude and outcome of parasitic type of economics. And unfortunately, when we look at those archetypes, it can start ringing bells of some familiarity in terms of some of the global and the national dominant economics that we have today in neoliberal and free market economics, in terms of the outcomes that we see there. We have now very small populations of billionaires, like 8 to 20 people, who have the accrued wealth of maybe 50% of the population on this planet, and that's 4 billion people, and that has been a leap, an increase of billionaires through a time of austerity. So that's an evidence of what an outcome of a more archetype, using the archetype of Parasite, those types of economics can produce. And it's not really okay, it's destructive. And at the moment, at this point of transition, we have a transformation process because the virus is highlighting a lot of issues and ill health in our human systems. So we have that opportunity to have transformation, and it's quite overwhelming and it's huge and complex. But with the archetype of guardian approach to economics, actually we already can have a sense is a more holistic way of understanding the well-being at the point of interaction of human nature, of human labour, and of the resources and the earth that are being provided at that point of interaction in economics. And so we know that guardian approaches has a wider and a more holistic understanding, and that can be exampled with the use of economics such as Doughnut economics, and I will put a link below to describe those two, the neoliberal and the Doughnut economics. And once my website, there has been a delay, I'm sorry about that, but once my website is up and running, I'll be better able to make links to the evidence and the articles that back up the discussion and dialogue base that we go through in Ecobalance Courses. So that's kind of a big broad brush. I've spoken a bit quickly because it's a lot of ground to cover that I wanted to share today. I'm hoping in my next video, or my intention should I say in my next video, is to really talk about our glorious and magnificent planet and have that reconnection with the wonder of our natural world and natural environment, because it really is something spectacular and to be celebrated. So, and a core part of what we look at in Ecobalance Courses. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And also, if you can subscribe and like the videos, subscribe to the channel, then I really appreciate that as well. And meanwhile, just, do take care. I really hope things are okay for you, and my love to you and all beings. So until next time, thank you. Bye bye.